congratulations, one international game down, one international goal down. Just what were you feeling when that ball hit the back of the net?
Yeah, it was pretty surreal. I think until that moment, I was kind of just focused on doing my job. I was just like running and get back post, watching the cross from Charlie, and when it hit the back of the net, it was pretty cool. Obviously, my celebration, I don't think I kind of believed what happened, and I don't think I still have, so it'll probably take me a while to actually figure out what went on just then.
We saw in the first few minutes, like you won a couple of balls down the left flank, got them in immediately. You were full of a China shot. Were you just a ball of nervous energy in those opening exchanges?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I like to play. I think obviously the adrenaline from it being my first game and stuff, but all the girls were kind of telling me to just play my own game and play how I do in training, and so I think as much as, I just wanted to go out there and kind of show what I could do.
Kahli, hate to be the last bit, but did you know about the offside line? The flag doesn't go up. So.
I mean, if it doesn't get called, is it offside?
Not going to not score.
Ask Izzy Gomez.
Kahli, how much reward is this for you? When you made that big trip over to Canada to play your football there, you just didn't look like you missed the beat. And coming in tonight, fantastic. How much confidence did you gain from making those big decisions?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's always a risk when you make a move like that, but to be honest, it felt like the right time for me. I feel like coming through here in Australia was great, and gained that experience, and just wanted to go over there and try something different and learn and grow, and I felt like I was able to do that, and kind of showed off that it was the next step and the right step to make.
Kahli, it looked like the team was very confident with the first whistle tonight. We saw the social media videos of the Arsenal trio come back on Wednesday night. It felt like they gave the whole squad a lift. Can you take us through, to what extent they helped you with confidence tonight?
Yeah, I mean, winning the Champions League is one of the best things you can do in football, so I think seeing them do that and them coming back in and kind of being a part of the group, I think it definitely fills you with a lot of confidence, and I think to kind of know that that's the calibre of player that Australia can produce is pretty cool and very exciting for the future.
Kahli, it looked like post-game you were looking in the crowd for someone special there and had lovely colour with someone. Take us through that special moment and who it was you were looking for.
Yeah, my parents are here, my brother and my girlfriend, so it was pretty cool to get to share that moment with them briefly after the game. Obviously, they know how hard I've worked to get here and been through so many ups and downs with me throughout the years, so for them to get to kind of see that moment, I'm so grateful that they got to be there, and obviously then getting to see them as well, it was really special.
Sorry.
You didn't know to identify them. Did you have a spot, or did you know where they were, or did you just get sort of lucky with the eye contact?
I kind of knew where they were because I could hear my brother before the game screaming. So I knew that they were somewhere around that area, and then I kind of saw my mum, arms wide out and screaming my name. So I got to run over to her and have a hug.
How much have you seen them since you moved to Canada?
Oh, not at all. This is the first time.
Any further questions for Kahli?
Yeah. Kahli, how much confidence do you take out of coming on and performing the way you did? It's easy to get stage fright or be deer in the headlights, but you just from the get-go, you were confident in returning players. How much confidence do you take out of this?
Yeah, obviously I think playing in a team like this with these type of players, it kind of gives you that confidence, and everyone kind of just tells you to be yourself and play like you know how. So that's what I tried to do, and hopefully I can keep doing that moving forward.
Kahli, what happens now? Is your season still going, or have you got much longer to go in your Canadian season?
Yeah, it just started, so we've only played 6 games, so we've got about 19 left. So I'll go back over there and keep working hard and keep winning games.
Final 2 questions.
We spoke about your first role. What was it like when you found out that you were starting? Did you ever anticipate this would happen immediately after playing into camp?
Yeah, not at all. I was very surprised. I think, obviously found out last night, and I really couldn't believe it, to be honest. I think it was probably a good thing that I had no idea, because it really didn't give me much time to kind of start to panic. So I think, yeah, just found out, came in, did my usual thing today, and tried my best to treat it like any other game.
Final question.
How much sleep did you get after you were told you were starting?
It probably took a little bit to fall asleep, but got there in the end.
And just before you go, might be Tom's, 150th game tonight for the Matildas. What's it been like as a mentor for you, bringing you into camp? And any words for you?
Yeah, I mean, Tom's a legend. He's coached.
I mean, I'm dead. Legends are usually dead.
Not this one.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's coached so many amazing players, so many great teams, has so much experience, and I think just the respect that the other girls have for him kind of just shows, how much he's done for this game. And so even just being able to come in here and for him to trust me to take the field tonight is a great honour, and I definitely appreciate it a lot.
Fantastic. 1 for 1, and she got to do the press conference, which she absolutely
Well,
loves.
yeah. And it won't be our last rodeo.
Thanks, Kahli Johnson.
Sorry.
Christian, you take you back to the locker room.
Well, Tom, we just heard from Kahli there. I mean, you've been associated with giving so many players their debuts over the years. Another one, you've given them their debut, they've scored. Has it ever lost its novelty?
No.
Still feels as good as ever?
It does. It feels great when you see a young player coming into the team and you can get them on the field, and particularly when you can get them on the field and start them. And it makes it even better when you see how well Kahli played tonight. She just went in there. She just kind of fulfilled what I saw of her as a player prior to coming in, but also what she did in training. And she just really took that out onto the field tonight.
Because you've had lots of highs in your 150 games. You've won a Continental Championship in 150 games, but you've also given so many players, started the journeys for so many players. Is that your favourite part of the job?
It's one of them, yeah. Look, it's certainly up there. And the favourite part of it is not just so much the giving players a debut, but where you see where they've been and where they end up going to. So when you see, Steph Kahli and Caitlin Ford coming back with a European Championship medal and things like that, that's the kind of stuff that really sort of, particularly for me, that makes it very special.
It's your 150th game today, and obviously the one on Monday could be your last one with the Matildas.
Who told you that? Nobody said anything to me.
Are you starting to feel a little bit emotional about it all?
No, I don't. I'm from Glasgow. You don't. You sort of don't really get emotional in Glasgow, if I'm being honest. It's just been a real privilege for me to have been able to come back and do what have this spell with the Matildas. I've been extraordinarily lucky. I've had 3 spells with the team, and if you could pick 3 spells to have, I would have picked the 3 that I had. When the programme started, basically from scratch. Then the second time when we went into Asia from Oceania, and then this third time when the team has just gone to a different level of support and recognition. So for me to come in now is just, it's kind of a wee bit extraordinary. And if you'd said to me 11 months ago this would be happening now, I'd basically say you've been dreaming. So that's just been a real privilege for me to come back into the job.
Tom, on Monday, do you anticipate probably giving the Arsenal girls some game time, or are you still...
Absolutely. No, they should be fit and ready to go, and I anticipate them starting on Monday. They've had the holiday, they've had a week, so no. Our aim tonight, it's like anything. You go into the game with an aim, but sometimes fate gets in the way. We were fortunate tonight. The game went to how we sort of hoped it would go, and that allowed us to utilise other players and give game time to players that haven't had as much game time. Izzy Gomez didn't get game time tonight because she tweaked her back yesterday, but she'll be okay. But Monday, we've got our 3 sort of key Arsenal players, and they'll be, barring any accident or injury, but they'll be in the starting lineup.
So I've made some strong comments about the future of Ele Green.
Did I?
What has been the response to that Have many people got in touch with you?
Some good, some bad. Look, you asked me a question, and I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think when you've asked me questions, whatever they've been on, I've just tried to answer them authentically, if you like, and I'll continue to do that. And I did that with that particular question. So obviously there's been a reaction, and hopefully there'll be a positive reaction out of that.
Does it feel like you might want more for the women's game in Australia than others within football in Australia?
I always want more for the women's game. It's my job, and it's always been my job, and it's been my job since I first walked into women's football in 1994, and it will continue to be my job. And while I've got a position where I can influence things, then it's important that I do that, and it's important that all of us that are in my position and round about do as much as we can to keep the progress of women's football going forward. And that encompasses a lot of things that we need to do, and we need to do better within the country. And that's not a criticism of people. You know, everybody's working in the game and working for the best of the game. But we need to keep pushing at the edges and pushing forward.
Kahli's one of those players come through the A-League squad tonight. What's it going to mean for if some of these things aren't tightened up, sorted out? What will it mean for that pathway?
But the thing is, it's like anything with any industry probably. You've got to keep at the cutting edge. You can't afford to stay still, and you can't afford to go backwards. It's as simple as that. And we've got to continue to look at the world has opened up for women's football. Europe has come alive in the last 3 or 4 years. The game in the last 2 to 3 to 4 years has expanded more than it did in the 10 years previous to that. So we need to keep up with that, and to keep up with that we need to put certain things in place domestically, and we need to put certain things in place internationally. And it's important that we do that, and it's important that we do that with everybody on board and everybody pushing in the right direction. And that's A-League people, FFA people and club people.
Any questions from over here?
I just wanted to get your thoughts on Caitlin Toppy's goal, because that one was a bit of an interesting one.
Yeah, probably, you know, the old miss-hit cross trick, but like what I've learned over the years is you take the good decisions that go your way or the things that go your way, because ultimately in the game the opposite happens at the other end. So the first goal, which if there was VAR, was probably marginally offside. The second goal was a little bit of a miss-hit cross, but they both ended up in the back of the net, and as the coach you accept that. I think though, looking beyond that, if you look particularly at our second half performance, I think we dominated the game. I think we had a lot of good passages of play, and I think on that we, you know, could probably maybe have created a couple of more better chances, which we didn't do. But generally, I thought overall our play and our tempo in the second half was very good. And when you consider the changes we made, and when you consider the players that we started and put into the game, that was a very pleasing aspect of the performance.
Final 3 questions for Tom.
Tom, your Argentine counterpart has come in off the long run-up about some of the decisions made by the referee tonight, saying that the Matildas got the rub of the green on pretty much every single call. Did you see it that way?
No, I did. Then I'll be honest. Like, I think the level of the game was a little bit challenging for the referee. But I don't think there was any obvious decisions that we obviously first goal was probably marginally offside, but when there's no VAR, those goals happen. We'll get some of them caught against us, and we'll get some of them for us. But I think overall in the scheme of play, I don't think there was any particular decision that was contentious.
Tom, your coach also said women's football in Argentina a long way behind Australian football. They're catching up. It's going to take time. You've had 3 stints at the Matildas. Do you think now we're closer to winning World Cup than we have been in the past, or we're getting further away?
It's getting harder. It's not necessarily we're the closer or further away. It's actually getting harder because the big countries are investing in women's football. You know, if you go back 8 to 10 years, Spain weren't on the radar. You know, so England were okay, but they weren't as big as they are now. So what's happened is that, you know, there's far more investment in the game worldwide, and if South America comes alive, that will make it even tougher. So I think when all of our players are fit and healthy, I think we have got a high quality squad that can compete with anyone in the world. And in reality, 2 years ago, we came close to winning the World Cup. So we're in the mix, but we need to keep progressing to stay in there and to be competitive.
I have a question to Anna.
I think it was 438 caps. I did the maths on before across your team, and I think almost 300 of them were just between Emily Van Egmond and Alana Kennedy. Considering how inexperienced this team was, how impressed were you with this performance? What did it show you in terms of what this team can do and moved on from?
Well, it shows what players can do when they get an opportunity. You know, at times, and it's one of the challenges in the national team is to, and I've said this probably numerous times, is to, you know, sort of play for the present but plan for the future, and it's getting that balance right. And it's becoming more and more difficult to do that because you're limited with the amount of time you get your team together as opposed to what it was in the past. So it's always a challenge to do that. But what I think, you know, if there's anything that I've noticed over the last 9 or 10 months is that some of those fringe players have started to become more comfortable in the environment, and that's given them more confidence. And I think their ability to mix in and not be overawed by our bigger players is now more evident, and I think that helps them perform like we saw tonight with Kahli.
Fantastic. That concludes the post-match press conference.
Prior to the end of the press conference, and I forgot to do this the other night, as you're probably aware, Anu Dong, this is probably her last FA press conference in the sunny city of Melbourne. So I just think it's very important to recognise her contribution to women's football, her passion, her knowledge, her dedication, the time that she spent in the game, 8 years with the FA, but before that, many, many years coming along, you know, herself and covering our games when we weren't as famous as we are now. And she's just an encyclopedia and been absolutely enormous. So thanks very much, Anne, and well done what you've done. And you're buying the first drink. Okay.